Hey, I'm Marcus and I'm playing Crusader Kings 3. Last time, just when I was about to call it a day, our good Graf Siegfried died. Finally, at the age of 67. It was still a surprise because he had just returned from Cologne. He was just reinstated as a marshal, this time of the Archbishopric, and I think he was just about to give it another go, but then he died. And this episode is probably not going to be that much of an one where we pass a lot of time, because there's a lot to unpack. Just when it comes to him, when it comes to his son, and the new regime in Sayn that Ezzo here will lead. I think we should talk about him for a moment here, because we could go back to Siegfried when we host his funeral. And so then we can talk about him again and his legacy. But I think it will be very interesting to talk about Ezzo, like who he is and how I'm going to play him. He is Ezzo II. Someone pointed that out. That is interesting. So why is that the case? If we look back into the history, the title history of the Grafschaft of Sayn, then we do find that before our von Sayns here, this has been the territory of the Ezzonen. We know that. We knew that Hermann here had a pressed claim, that he's also now passed on to his son. And this whole area here, on the right side of the Rhine, was largely an Ezzonen domain, right until Archbishop Anno came around and saw to it that the right side of the Rhine was more under the influence of the Archbishopric of Cologne. And that's largely what happened. And what still is here, as we see it now manifest in the Erzbischof, also being the Erzbischof of Berg, the whole territory here. Now, in that list here, we don't see an Ezzo, by the way, right? There's no Ezzo in here. I need to drink something. But an Ehrenfried. That's the one down here. And he would be the first Ezzo, because Ezzo, I said before, it could be short for Heinrich, that's true. It can also be short for Ehrenfried. And in this version here, the Ezzonen dynasty pretty much derives from a first Ehrenfried. Let me figure out, there he is, right? Pretty sure that this one here was added by the Regnum Teutonicum mod. Don't think they have such an elaborate dynasty in the base game. Anyway, so that's why he's Ezzo II, and I think that was pretty much the reason why he was named Ezzo, to have some kind of continuation. For Siegfried here to say, while we are the new rulers in here, there is history, and the history is being continued by our dynasty, which he then enforced also by bringing Ezzo here to the court of Hermann, learning from him. Anyway, so Ezzo, he does have similar traits to Siegfried, though I think I will interpret them differently. And that is largely to how it corresponds with his other traits. When we think back of Siegfried here, he really thought of himself as this just person, as someone who in his dealings was, I guess, impartial, honorable, and so on. That was not always the case, but in his mind he always was very honorable, very just. And that was part of his principled nature. Now, these principles aren't something that Ezzo has. I think he did in the beginning, right? But then he did have this talk with his mother. And his mother was a very influential person in his life. She was the one bringing him up until he was like about 10 or so, before he left for Aachen. And she, at some point, instilled in him that he should do everything he does with great purpose. There we have it. Ezzo possesses a singular, unwavering focus that borders on obsession. He strips away all distractions in the relentless pursuit of his goals. Like a predator stalking prey, his path is single-minded. So I would interpret this as Ezzo having figured out, and with the help of his mother, that the things that he wants, right? He wants to be this guy who cares about infrastructure and so on. We see that in a moment. He does have perks in that regard. But apparently that is not what was wanted from him. And the only way to get where he wants to be is by having this approval of the people around him. And to get that approval, he needs to have great purpose. He needs to put his focus and his energy into the things that matter to the people around him. And for his father, that I think he always wanted the approval of his father. He did everything he could that his father wanted from him. But then also people like Hermann before him, I think he definitely wanted his approval as well. So what do you have to do? You find purpose and you show everyone how good you are. And what you can become. What's interesting about him is that while he's also a shy person by nature, right? He prefers to avoid interacting with other people. Obviously, a preference, but not a luxury he can afford. He has to communicate with people. So, the question is really, how does he deal with that? How does he overcome his nature? To me, I think there's a pattern that we can see. There is, for example, and I did see that here, there's Gotzelo, who is the son of Hermann. And Gotzelo here does have a very negative opinion of us. That is largely because he's also a title claimant. Let's not forget, he does have that by now unpressed claim on Sayn. But there's something down there. Childhood bully. So he was bullied by Ezzo. Ezzo bullied Gotzelo. I think that's the correct relation there. So there's something there. Then we can see that he does have rivals. There is a lowborn knight, but there's also Tankul von Rennenberg, right? Important noble in Sayn. And to me, that speaks of a man who sees rivalry as a form of motivation. So in order to overcome his shy nature, he has to use force, so to say, and outside pressure. He needs pressure around him to be able to come on top, right? I think that's very much Ezzo in a nutshell. That's where his purposeful nature leads him, and that's how he's largely going to act. And one of the things I would like to do in how to portray this is when it comes to his lifestyle. Again, we do see that he does have some perks in the architect trade path. But I would like to say he focuses on chivalry right now. Why? Again, because that is how in the past he was able to gain approval from everyone around him. That is how he was able to validate himself. And that's what he wants to do. And I guess what we will do is once we take the first perk, we will go for Stalwart Leader. And again, we have we can challenge rivals to single combat. Oh, this time it works out because the rivals that we do have are, in fact, good at prowess and so on, also ambitious. I think it should be no problem that we can. He's brave, right? There won't be a problem when it comes to challenging them. It means they're also very good at what they're doing, and it's likely that we won't succeed. And that's part of this purposeful nature. Which also means like he's not really, when he has rivals, it doesn't mean that he wants them gone or that he wants to kill them necessarily. It's more like he wants to cultivate rivalries and kind of keep them going. And I guess we can definitely do that with Tankulf. He is an important noble of Sayn. It would be very unseemly to just throw him out. I do think we will throw out Archbishop here, there is really nothing we currently have for him. Of course, we know that our father was able to, because he was a Reichsgraf, because he was a known commander and everything, he had the ability to have lots of household knights. We don't have that ability. We can take care of a few men, but then that's about it. So we have Franz here. By the way, changed the name to Isenburg, and I put the white boar in there. Do you remember the white boar of Isenburg? He's now immortalized in the coat of arms of Franz von Isenburg. So he's our marshal. Then we have some really, really good knights in Popo, in Karlmann, and Ademar. And they're all lowborn. That's what they will do. That is their focus here. That's why they are here. And then there's lots and lots of others down here that we can't really make use of right now. Tankov, of course, is going to stay because he's a local noble. But Archibald, rivalry, give or take, but I will dismiss him from court. You can cultivate a rivalry with him while he's gone. That's not a big problem, I guess. So he's out. There you go. Then, I guess starting from the bottom here, there's this guy called Adam. He can also go. I'm not even really sure how he came to our court in the first place. They don't really have any use for him. There we are. And yeah, there's Volkbert, who's currently Chancellor. He's lowborn. And in that position here, he would be, at the time, what we call now a ministerial. I think minister is the wrong word. Ministerial. Ministeriale. That's the German word for it. And that is basically a lowborn person that is put into a high position where he just fulfills the part and then leaves. Or is, you know, in this case, as you do see here, he made some gold while in office, and I think that's just good enough for him. So he now can leave. We don't want to continue employing him. There we are. And instead, I think what we can do is, well, I guess in fact we could put Tankulf in that position. I think it's very fitting that we put the highest nobles in our little realm in these important positions. That is very much what he would be expected to do. Again, also as steward, we could put in Lothar von Bernsau. Again, a family that is well known in the area. Franz von Isenburg is in a proper position here already. He should care for increasing development, I think. And now when it comes to our courtiers, I think Barthélemy could stay. There we go. He is this French noble who arrived at our court, and I'm not sure what to make of him. I think it would not be very fitting, even though he would be very good at it, to put him in the position of a chancellor, because he's French. He doesn't even really speak German. I think that despite his talent, his clear talents here, that I think that would not be great. I think he's much better suited to a position like this, where he can make the most out of his Frenchness, I think. Okay. Now I already threw everything right in the middle. I need to go back to my notes. What did I write down here? Yes. Someone noted that it would be very nice for Franz, since he's now already 51, to marry. And that's correct. That's definitely something he should do. I took a look around and saw this person here, Marksworth Grelle. She is Franconian. That's good. She is also around. There's also somewhere in the south, right over here. A guest currently at that court. She has the fecund trait, so that kind of will make sure that they actually get some kids. She's also wrathful, so I think that's kind of that fits nicely. There we are, and that would be accepted. So there we go. Right, I cleared the pins, put in new pins, mostly for everyone around us. I mean, it was, again, like some people comment and say, can we take a look around the bigger picture and so on? I think where we are right now, in this position where we are not a Reichsgraf anymore, right? So we are not Reichsunmittelbar. We're not directly in direct relation to the emperor. Rather, we are part of this very regional community now again. Let's focus on this. So let's stay here in this area and focus on the people that are strictly around us so that we can know what we can make of that. Already mentioned Gangulf here was the current Archbishop, bit of a faltering heart, so I'm not sure you'll make it much longer. A scholar, a mastermind philosopher, humble and content. Again, someone that is reliable when it comes to matters of the church, but not politically. And I think we saw that before with his... there we go. With the ones with Farabert, right, who came before him, quite similar, and that is in opposition to who Anno was, an ambitious man, opportunist, someone who reshaped the area here. So that might be, on the one hand, some direction that would come from a higher place, from the place of the emperor, maybe. But also maybe within Cologne and everyone that is able to vote for the new Archbishop. And we saw that this kind of works out for them. By staying neutral, by staying apolitical, they've now really doubled their sphere of influence now to the right side of the Rhine. So I think that works out for them. So there's him. But he's not a big entity. He's just this neutral man on top. There's not much to be expected from him. Currently being attacked, of course, by Godzelo, who wants to have some of his land back. Now, for the other counts around us, we have Adam von Saffenberg, who is, of course, married to our sister Magdalene. They already have some children. Magdalene here was the one that kind of went against her expectations and was headstrong enough to say, no, I do want to learn how to fight. I do want to learn about armies, and that is my interest. And yeah, she got away with it. Quite good, actually. Skilled tactician. Now, they have kids. They are in our immediate vicinity. I think it would be very prudent to say that we would like to have an alliance with him. As you do see here, he does have an okay army that would be there for us to aid us. Should someone try to attack us? Not sure. And, of course, now, for every kind of negotiation like this, we gain stress. That's fine, though. We take the stress and see what we make of it. Then, to the north of us, we have, of course, Eckhard von Berg. That would be someone known to court because he was here as a ward growing up. So we do see quite capable, a just man. That was just something that our father liked. And I guess we can admire that in him as well. Quite callous. So where the vengefulness implies some kind of emotional reaction. Like he is more of a neutral arbiter, I would say. Someone who does not bring emotion into his justice, his sense of justice. Also temperate, a fastidious man, so he's quite capable. And, of course, he's 19. He does not currently have an heir that is from the Berg dynasty. There is just someone from the Nassau line that would be inheriting. I think what we will do, of course, right now, we have 3 daughters, and it is clear that should he die right now, then his daughter would inherit. And there's this thing again where, of course, if you want to continue the line, then you would have to do something like a matrilineal marriage or marry her off to a lowborn person, and therefore the children would be of Sayn. That is not how anyone at the time would have thought about this. At the time, you would think not dynastically, but rather in terms of stability, in terms of how Adelheid would then be able to enact rule, because she wouldn't be ruling directly. but rather through her husband. So there's different approaches to this. And I think that Ezzo likes the idea of saying, hey, if Eckehard here was to marry Adelheid, then their children would have this opportunity to form this new entity here on the right side of the Rhine that would be very powerful. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Which also means that right now, if she remains heir and we continue playing, then I would continue playing their children afterwards, right? Even if it's technically a game over when she dies. There's that. Then we have Hermann von Mark. I did change some things around here just to make it a bit more realistic or historical. For example, Mark here rules from Altena. That is where the earliest residence of the Counts of Mark is. And so I put it in there, not Mark, but Altena. We have now the Grafschaft of Dortmund. That's the correct coat of arms here that the Counts of Dortmund had. I did not change his name to Dortmund and so on, just because he only has a daughter right now, and I just don't want to do all this work when it's already extinct in the next generation. So maybe I'll do that at some point. If he does have a son and so on, I can rename them to von Dortmund. Then instead of Ruhrgau, I renamed this to Duisburg. So we have Graf Adam of Duisburg. I thought that would be more fitting. We are at this point where the old Gaue, this system of counties, small counties, is collapsing and reshaped into something else. So it would be quite fitting, I thought, to also account for this and then have Duisburg here instead of Ruhrgau, or even like this was Essen, I think, normally. Now I changed that to Duisburg. Made more sense to me. Then we do have Graf Gerlach von Hochstaden, and he is of the Jülich dynasty, or rather house. They are Châtenois by dynasty. He might not be here for the longest time because I do believe that Godzilla will be able to press his claim. So there's that really. Apart from our little realm here, there's also, of course, Graf Varenechin of Wied, who is the brother of our wife. So he's someone to keep in mind. He is now, of course, part of West Franconia, that is ruled by Herzog Popo of the Salian dynasty, who was also our brother-in-law because he's married to our older sister Kriemhild. And yeah, again, this will be interesting because once she dies, then that son here, Heinrich, he will also have a claim on Sayn. Yeah, plenty of opportunities for anyone really around here to snatch our titles, but we will of course guard it and make the most of it. Right, so that's the immediate or the close neighbors that we have. Of course, there's Godzilla, much like his father in many regards. Ambitious and greedy, so a man with many wants, also possessive, right? Fiercely territorial guardian of what he holds dear. So there we go. And he doesn't like us. I don't think that's a good thing, but I don't know. Ezzo, what else is he going to do? I had a look. Yeah, I had a look at the artifacts that we have. And he does have his own signet ring. That's an artifact provided by the House Traditions mod. And since we have the Justice tradition, he gained that signet ring here. So you see here, a simple gold signet ring bearing the sigil of House von Sayn. The motto of the von Sayn family, until our fidelity engulfs the world, is elegantly inscribed on the inside. And I think, as it's nearly broken, we could repair that one here already. That's definitely something to keep. Don't think we should equip the lock of our mother's hair. That was definitely something for our father. I guess we can keep the orchid. That would be fine, I think. There we go. When it comes to the back scratcher, I think you could just sell it off. I don't think we need that. It's nice, I guess, while it was there, but yeah. Then there's the worn language manuals, also a bit like in tatters, falling apart, really. Should we do that? Oh, that we can sell it. No, that's not what I wanted to do. 25 gold to repair it. Why not? I think he would also like to learn some languages, and maybe he finds some inspiration in there. I renamed our Chronicle, was I think called the Zynicronomicon or something like that. It was very weird. And I did look up and look for possible ways of renaming it. I ended up calling it Gesta Comitum de Sayn. So it's like the book of the deeds of the Counts of Sayn. And as we know, that is kind of a legitimizing piece, really. That is there to give legitimacy to the rulers of the Sayn dynasty, to make sure that it's written in there that there's a legitimate claim to these lands, and also historically. I did write what would be, I think, the first sentence in there. Incipit liber de origine et gestis comitum de Sayn, quorum virtus in justitia firmata est. So, thus begins the book of the origin and the deeds of the Counts of Sayn, whose virtue is firmly grounded in justice. I will hope that once we hold the funeral for our father, that we'll get to put the lock of mother's hair in his grave. I hope that we will be able to do that, but I'm not sure. Can't be too certain. That event is just randomly put in. Right, so that was dealing with the artifacts. We also picked the martial focus. Oh yeah, up here we do have training for tournament, and I think that's something I will use. There you go. And now he's well trained. Good for him. I did the betrothal, and I think something he could start with is actually trying to learn the language of his wife. So I think that makes great sense for me. Of course, they will be able to understand each other. She's Saxon, and there we go, Low German language. He speaks quote-unquote High German. That's not a thing of the time, right? That's comes with many asterisks in that case. I would just say they speak two different dialects of German, but they would be able to understand each other. By the way, Radegund, interesting person. Shy like he is, but I think in a different sense. She is very much shy and wants to stay shy. So she's also content. She likes to pray. She's reliant, right? Is a sensitive individual who approaches the world with great prudence. She rarely makes a major decision without the protection, counsel, and emotional support of others. So there's that when it comes to her. I don't think she would be very much at the forefront of things. And as we do see here, she's currently coming home from Wied. So she spent some time there, probably where she would still feel at home. Has strong feelings when it comes to her family. So she stayed there for a while, but now she's coming back to aid us here. And I hope, again, that we will have some more children. And again, of course, we want a son. That is the goal. I think that was about what I wanted to do, really. Alright, yeah, we do lack guardians now for Adelheid and Richinza. That is, of course, because Siegfried was the one to directly take care of them, while Ezzo sort of was already doing the dealings for the house, right? She is looking into a diplomacy education. So why not learn from Barthélemy? That makes sense for me. I think she can... High German, Italian, no German. No. Yeah, she already speaks French, so she will be able to understand him. That's good for him. For her. Then we have Richinza. And... oh, she's also going for that martial direction here. That seems to be an ongoing theme. Let's then let her shadow Franz. Yeah, we are not endorsed by the Suffragan Bishop, and that's, of course, I could sway him technically. I'm not sure that he would do that. He doesn't like to mingle with people. We figured that out. Unless there's an actual must. And his trusting nature would need to be saying, okay, I don't care much whether he likes me or not. He's supposed to be doing his thing here in Siegburg, and I will just let him do that. And the rest will just come on its own. Which I guess it would. It's mainly like, as we do see here, the short reign. There's only little personal diplomacy. This might just get better on its own. Okay, so I think, yeah, we've reorganized this. Of course, at some point we would go, I think, to Cologne in order to ask for a position at court. That being said, yeah, we could technically pay homage, petition in Cologne here. Not going to directly do this. I'm just going to let a few days pass here, because usually after the death, there's some things that come after a few days. There we are, she's here, and there we are. There are whispers about the tales and deeds of my father, exalted among men, Graf Siegfried, everywhere I go. Near or far, it seems there is nobody who has not heard his name. I wonder, will I always stay in the shadow of my father, or will I be able to achieve as much fame in my life as him? How high will I be able to climb? Yeah. Both things make sense for me, but I think when I, or the whole, kind of little tale I spun about how his personality works, I think the first here makes more sense to me. Not because he necessarily wants to be like him, but rather it's this form of, well, he can't really be a rival of his because he's dead, but to compete, to be able to compete, that is very important to him, and that's why I think he would aim to also achieve things like his father did. So she is agreeing to the marriage. That's very nice. There we go. Right, there we go. There's our first alliance. Oh, by the way, we let go of Volkmet and immediately became Vogt in Fulda. Well, that's good for him then, right? He should be grateful. And there we are. He is now betrothed to Adelheid. That's great as well. Let's see if we can take another alliance. Yes, with Eckehard. Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, he does have special soldiers. Interesting. Yes, negotiate that alliance. And I think then we're done. That's great then. Then we have sufficient alliances within Berg. Or rather, within Berg and Cologne. Now, it is September, and I guess then that could be a good time to lay our father to rest. There we go, have that in Siegburg. Deceased is, of course, our father. Could technically also put Hermann in here. Okay. Were they friends? Might have been, right? Because otherwise he would not be able to do that. Yes, mourning is very much what we are going to do. As we do see here, Mainz is coming. Cologne is not coming, but he probably has reasons for that. Let's say extended family, of course. Then we would have more people from here. Would it make sense to say, could we also invite other people from around? I think so. I will just well, there's lots of people not coming anyway, but given the importance of Siegfried, not only in his region, but for the Reich as a whole, I think that makes a lot of sense. We also get the knights, of course. There we go. Technically, we could go for extravagant ceremonials. To a great person of the realm, do they not deserve everything that we can provide? Well, there's a point to be made, really, because, again, Siegfried was a very important person in the Reich, and I think that should not be understated. So, yeah, okay. Let's do it like this. That might also make sure that more people are coming in the end. Oh yeah, and of course, our rivals can come too if they like. That's... He would be someone to invite his rivals to things, right? That's the closer he has his rivals, the more competition he feels. Right, start the funeral. And there we go. Siegburg is to be Siegfried's final resting place. Isn't that befitting? And I'm left alone to gather my thoughts and prepare for the arrival of the honored mourners. We could also say that, of course, maybe that's not Siegburg directly, but the monastery that Siegfried himself financed. Here we are. Eckhard is also... Is he also coming to the... No, he can't, because he's leading the army. Ah, okay. He is in an army. Oh, by the way. Gangulf here is giving us the option to be the marshal. That was exactly what our father fought for. I think that makes a lot of sense. For Ezzo, yes, we will accept that. Put the helmet on. Go back to the abbey. And... yeah, that's fine. Totally fine. Works with our current focus. Anything else, by the way? Can make love to the wife, but I don't think that we should do that currently. That's a bit... Don't think that's proper. Aha. Graf Martin imprisoned Clemencia von Main. Oh, what happened here? That's the sister. I guess she botched the treatment. That might be it. That's our cousin, by the way. There we go. First cousin. Right. By the way, who is currently... Oh, our mother is doing this. Oh, that means she cannot be at her hospital. Oh, no. Oh, well, someone has to keep a watch on the castle, I guess. Oh yeah, let's speed this up. No need to keep it so slow. Right. She is at court. Does she have a relationship now with him? Oh, they've become rivals. That's not great. I thought they would. I thought they would work well together. Apparently they don't. Well. Oh, and Radegund is actually pregnant. Oh yeah, this is something to consider. She is a lunatic. Plagued by hallucinations, delusions, and disorganized thoughts, Radegund struggles to distinguish between what is real and what is not. That makes sense in that context here as well. She would spend a lot of time in isolation, praying a lot at the local chapel. I think that is what she would be doing mostly. Before me a feasting table, stocked high with all manner of food and drink, as if Siegfried were trying to offer a final act of magnanimity. And then Martin of Mayen has so far refused to lay a finger on this banquet, however, swirling his goblet around in idle solace. His middle distance stare falls wearily upon me, and with a quiet nod he raises his drink high. To Graf Siegfried of Sayn, truly one of the greats. That's usually my response here. Speaking a quiet prayer, I don't think it makes sense to me. Asking him what he meant to him. That might also be something I could do. I'm just going to take a roll for this one. Yeah, that's what we will do. We are making some contact here. But in a way that... The sorrowful line marches on, the line to have a last moment with Siegfried. A last whisper, a last long goodbye, and so on. Now, this is all stress-related. Great. I think... Either I will speak of his virtues, but yes, speaking is not his thing, right? I guess he will take a quiet bow on this part. Somehow that's giving him stress. There he has it. He has wanton desires. Lately it feels like I'm constantly being distracted by lascivious thoughts and erotic fantasies. Not the hardships of my everyday life. It is all too easy to lose myself in daydreams and forget about reality. These desires are clearly interfering with my life, but what should I do about them? I think in his current process here, as he's in a church, he can't just, like, really be reclusive here. He will bite his lip and stay focused. That is what he needs right now. He doesn't need to be reclusive. He knows that. Esteemed guests drift past the enshrouded body of Siegfried one after another, granting him little more than a slight bow or nod, as if perfunctory gestures could ever be enough to honor a life. My heart weighs heavy. It weighs as heavy as my pockets are full of trinkets and memories. There we are. Of Siegfried. I can't help but wonder why I should get to hoard objects which rightfully belong to him. Oh, and now... Oh, that is exactly the one that I wanted. But I wanted to put the lock in there. Oh, no. Well, that doesn't make any sense. That's ours. That would give us a ton of piety, but then again, that is something we should keep. That is he wrote this not for himself, but for the whole line. So I guess sadly we'll have to perish the thought. Well, I think I could just emulate this by saying I will quote-unquote auction off, so that just means we will just make sure it now quietly passes, maybe into the grave or somewhere in there. And Richinza has learned French. Oh, there's no valid targets anymore. Okay. Of all the figures venerated and villainous, none have been desired more than our departed Siegfried. So that's now him personally with him. So I think, yeah, he allows himself a moment of grief. There hasn't been that much personal connection, really, from him to his father. Of course, we know that they had this one big moment at this tournament in Reims where they were fighting back to back and were shouting their house motto. And that was, I think, very nice. But then he didn't have something of a loving relationship with his father. He wasn't much around for most of his childhood. He was always somewhere else. He needed to be there for the Kaiser. He needed to be in wars. So, yeah, he never really saw that much of his father until he was very old. And decided to now stay home and get rid of his commitments. So, yeah, there's lots of respect, of course. That's more the feeling that Ezzo has. And this feeling of saying, I wish you were still alive so I could show you what a great man I am and what a great man I am becoming. So there we are. All eyes fall upon Magdalene as she falls to the ground in lamentation, hands coating her reddened eyes from view. Magdalene's sorrowful gasps and chokes have left her fellow mourners breathless, and many offer her comfort and reverence as if it were her who was to be committed to the hereafter. And now we get to the point again where I don't think he would offer comfort. I don't think that is actually something he would do in this case. He would either see this as an opportunity again to show again who he is. So that means he would try to outperform her in this performance of mourning. Or he would let it go and say, I can only mourn in my own way. But I don't think that is an option here he would ever choose. That is not how he works as a person. I will roll for this one again. It's a 3. So he is seeing this as a way, as competition and as a way for him to assert himself. And he was not successful. He made quite a fool of himself. Hunched beside me, bereft of the pretense of propriety, the inconsolable Sophia Sophia? Is that... Oh, no. That's our sister, Sophia. Gazes out into the nothingness before her. Not a tear falls from her eyes, not a word passes her mouth until she turns to me. And he's talking to him directly. So God can be cruel indeed. So why is our father dead? Don't see that in him. Pull yourself together. I think he would have a hard time reacting to this when he's so directly concerned. Again, he found it more easy to deal with this situation of competition, rather, even if he lost, right? I think that he did not like that. But in this case, when she is directly approaching him, I think he doesn't know exactly how to handle this, so he would just quietly nod. The shadows of mourners no longer loom over me, and I'm at last given a moment alone. It feels good. I and the other mourners take a reprieve from our grief to enjoy a great bounty of food. Archbishop Michael of Mainz, usually the lifeblood of any feast, now sits across from me misty-eyed with an untouched cup at his side. How can we make ourselves fat and merry in times like these? Are we to enjoy ourselves while Siegfried has nothing? Join me, empty your cups in libation. Yeah. I don't see that coming here. So he's either joining in the offering or even saying there's a round of drinks for all. I think I will pick this option here. And again, competition. He wants to show all the nobles in attendance that he is a good count, worthy of being a von Sayn. Let's see. We do have, interestingly, the Duchess of Venetia. I mean, she remembered the importance of Siegfried when he was up there. We have Dortmund, Duisburg, Mayen, Gleiberg, and that is about it, right? It's a cozy affair. Probably because there's so much war going on. The mourners move through the hall, weeping in a kind of macabre dance, all for Siegfried, the unsettling silence of a people holding back what they so desperately wish to do. And I've talked about this again and again, but for everyone who's new, people wouldn't hold back. Not at the time. You would rather have an open performance of mourning, and that would be very much appropriate. I must remain strong. Now the time has come to commit Siegfried's final rites before his final journey to the hereafter. Okay, yeah, that was good for us. We gained a lot of piety, a lot of legitimacy. Great stuff. To see him surrounded by so many mourners and given a proper Catholic burial gives me hope that perhaps I too will be remembered this fondly as Graf. Yeah, makes sense. We gained a level of devotion. And now I can get back home. I mean, of course, it is very appropriate that we would go to Cologne and swear fealty. Right? Paying homage. That would be very much what we should do. Oh, he's gone. He's gone. He is... Probably we are going... let me just check. Yes. It is the coronation of Emperor Bretislav. The Compassionate, as he's called. We are not invited, of course, or we wouldn't have been, because we are now not a Reichsgraf anymore. So we definitely see that we're falling. It's fine. That's totally fine. Oh, she's also pregnant in the 7th month, so I think we would stay at home to be there for her as well. They are still going. Yeah, but this is going their way. I don't see how he could come back from this. Also, nobody seems to care. None of the, apart from, of course, Gerlach here, who will lose his lands, none of the others really said, okay, this is a war where we have some stakes in. That would say a lot how we as the nobles here feel towards the Archbishop. Yes, he is the one who holds the umbrella. At the same time, he is not greatly respected, I think. Oh no! As I wait outside the birthing chamber, each minute feels like a lifetime. Radegund's screams have ceased, with no infant's cries replacing them. Something is wrong. I can feel it in my bones. The door opens. The midwife's wretched expression confirms all my fears. I'm so very sorry, my lord. Lady Radegund, your daughter, they are both in heaven now. Oh, this is tragic. This is very tragic. Radegund has died in childbirth, and there was also a daughter that was stillborn. Oh, this is very, very tragic, of course. Unfortunately, Radegund is not around anymore. Yeah, that's his most important thing right now. How can he continue to learn the language if she isn't around anymore? Well, I guess I'm going to pick that one here, so we will continue at least to have this conversation with Wied. And again, now they have that claim. He, of course, is now, or there will be a prompt soon. He's a widower, and he will not remarry instantly. I will not do that. I will just give it a few years before he will take another look. Very tragic, of course. Also, of course, for the daughters. Oh yeah, nobody in your court can speak Low German, but I will be able to in a few moments. Can they speak Low German? Yes, so once they come of age. She's 5 now, okay. Oh, they're now directly besieging Cologne. No, they're not. Instead, they're going for the army again. Popo has become a pillager. A matter of courtly precedence and honor has escalated into a full-blown argument between Adhemar and Adalgar. They now stand before my throne, demanding I settle their dispute over the very nature of nobility. Adalgar has commissioned a massive, gaudy portrait of himself. Okay. How? To hang in the main hall? What? Adhemar finds the display of vanity tasteless and inappropriate for a mere courtier. Yeah. We don't need the pride, I guess. Even though that means we will lose legitimacy. That's weird. This whole thing is weird, right? Of course, there would not be something like a personal portrait. That is a thing of the Renaissance era. As I said before, like if you had something like a portrait, you would subtly put that into religious iconography. And then put that in the church. You would not put a portrait of yourself or even anyone else in your castle. That is unheard of. That is something that you would do in the Renaissance era, or even like early modern period. Yeah, but I guess in that situation here, I definitely would pick that one here. That is insufferable pride. Also, from someone that, I don't know, is he really someone that should be doing these things? Do we actually need him here? A hunter. Well, I guess what we would make use of, or could do, because I was thinking, what if we, what if Ezzo thinks that it would make sense to take another look into the legend of the White Boar? He's purposeful. And that would be something, if he was the one to be able to hunt the White Boar, then that would definitely, you know, make him worthy. So why not? Why not? But I think we can let Franz do that. We're not at war or anything. Ah, we can't track legendary game. Because I do not have the trait Hunter. Okay, that can be mended. That can be mended, because let's just, I guess, track regular game. Can do a hunt right now, but I always like to think that's wait for maybe we have a sighting. I think that's nicer. Yeah, let's do it like this. What's that? The old grudges die hard for my fellow councillors Hermann and Adam. That is Adam von Saffenberg and Hermann von Mark, who have long memories for betrayal. They see enemies and traitors among the nobility and believe our liege Gangulf has been too quick to forget past disloyalty. They want to use our collective influence to force our liege to make a harsh example of a formerly rebellious family, arguing it will improve the realm's overall stability by reminding everyone of the price of treason. They claim it is about ensuring loyalty, but I can see the cold hard glint of revenge in their eyes. Which is good. That is a good thing. I think that is exactly what we should do. It is time our enemies paid for their insolence. Oh yeah, and he accepted it. Good stuff. Good stuff. I was just about to say, let's pick track dangerous game here. Because we're looking for a boar, right? And that's dangerous. I think. I just had to look at one of my older campaigns where I used different visual mods. Maybe I bring back the snowflake mod that adds falling snow. Markgraf Dedo has been excommunicated by Pope Lucius. Oh. Arousal is causing stress. Okay, yeah, that's a problem now. That is a problem. We did not have that problem with Siegfried because, of course, he was a chaste man. He did not relish in carnal affairs, but Ezzo apparently does. Oh, learning Low German is hard, really hard. I feel like there's no more room in my head, it's full. As soon as one word enters my mind, another one falls into the abyss of forgetfulness. I struggle with every lesson, I'm making no progress whatsoever. Yeah, just take a break. I mean, you could have said, yeah, he's purposeful, he will continue doing things. At the same time, there's no direct pressure for this, I think, so... As long as we learn it in the end, that's the main goal. As I patiently await the fetching of my clothes, a servant stutters, oh no, it's the garments, it's Adelheid. He might even be saying that he doesn't have time for this. We don't go for the Princess of Fashion thing, I hate that. But it would be either option 1 or 3. It's option 1. He takes it humorously. The clanging of mail and the clashing of swords rings in my ears as my knights practice their arms. I study them intently, trying to ascertain each one's particular strengths and weaknesses. There can be little rest for them, for as soon as the bell is rung to signal the end of the mock melee, the stable doors are opened. It is time to bring out the mounts! Yes! Today we are going field riding! Popo glances at the mud fields at the bottom of the hill. Those could serve as the outline of an enemy army, he says. I inform my knights as I inspect their battle line, preparing them for the strategy at hand. Yeah. In that situation, he would try to be the best commander and see this strategically, I think. So there we are. Storm of hooves around me, the shouts of mounted warriors, their unyielding momentum. Riding at their head, it feels as if I'm at the head of a force of nature. This, however, is a force I direct that responds to my every little order, that I command as if it was an extension of myself. Charging into the flanks of an imaginary army, my knights never straying from my plan, I know that this is how I bring utter devastation to my enemy. Good stuff. We get a perk, and that's where we'll get Stalwart Leader. There we go. Which will now, we'll just wait a day, give me the ability to challenge my rivals. Should we work ourselves upwards and go for Archbishop? Because I think Tank was slightly better. Let's just see. Yeah, he will likely accept. Oh, he's also a Blade Master. That's going to be very difficult. For a few brief moments, Archibald and I pace in lazy half circles, each watching for an opening. Always the same text, of course. With a sudden twitch, a bout begins. He suddenly shifts direction, throwing himself sideways and into a powerful cleave that I'm just barely able to dodge. Yeah, let's be methodical about this. Strike and parry and riposte. I leap into action, launching a flurry of rapid thumps, driving myself hard against Archibald's guard, wearing him down with each expertly timed strike. Archibald is famed for his abilities with an axe, and he reminds me of this with a perfect flowing chain of quick slashes, punctuated by the occasional terrifying powerful cleave. Oh, I'm able to use my rough terrain expert. Master of terrain, your expert knowledge of the local terrain stands you in a good stead. But look at this, he's good. The rocky landscape we fight in is hazardous. Either of us could trip and fall to our death, and a violent shove here is as dangerous as a sword point. Where are we fighting, by the way? I take great delight in demonstrating this to Archibald time and again. Archibald pulls back from my every blow, letting me attack without getting another solid hit in. It's not long before I can feel myself begin to tire. Right. His guard is fierce. Ah, but he is now... That would be good for us, because we continue the onslaught. Oh, apparently it was not good. I leap into action, and so on. I think we will continue, though. And we won! My mace arm moves fast as lightning and strikes as hard as sundered stone. Blow by blow, I beat my opponent into bloody concussed submission, hammering him into the ground with all the fury St. George can lend me. Oh, that was good. That was good. That felt very good. I gain Novice Duelist, and if I do that some more times, I will also gain the Blade Master trait. So yeah. I enjoyed that. That was good. And I guess once I can do that the next time, I will do that against Tankwolf. But that will have to be... that will have to wait 5 years. Okay. Alright. Still 5. When is she turning 6? In June. Yeah, that is a minus 100%, so Hochstaden will belong to Godzilla in a moment. With expectations. Oh, right, we do have a ward, and that is Ehrenfried von Bernsau. Okay. You're always there for me, and I hope you know that I am grateful. My ward Ehrenfried approaches me in a rare display of courage and openness. Well, in that case, I think he would feel good about himself and thinking that, hey, I'm doing a good job. I'm fine. So peaceful once more. The wise wolf then said to the little boy, "Beware, for there's a..." Suddenly I'm interrupted. What? The great Graf is reading children's fables? Have you no pride? Sophia exclaims. Oh, that's mother. This is unacceptable. If your foes find this out, they will think you feeble-minded. Maybe my choice of low German literature was a bit underwhelming in the eyes of the court. Interesting. Very much befitting of what Sophia would say here, I think. Because she wants Ezzo to be strong and able to prove himself always. And he, on the other hand, he has taken a great deal from his mother's playbook. And he would listen to her advice, I think. So maybe he would say, "Oh, of course, you're right. They are not fit for a Graf." Right? That's his like combination of trusting and shy, I think. And his... Oh, soon after she died. Maybe that was her last impetus here, saying, hey, focus on being this powerful entity. Don't let yourself be distracted by anything left and right. You need to show clear purpose. And now Mother is dead. Everyone died so close after one another. Of course, I could host a funeral again. I guess I could say, let's remind me when I can do that again. Ah! And we got her perfume. That was the perfume she got from her husband. And we have another perk. I'm thinking, of course, we could go down that route. At the same time, serve the crown does make sense to me. He is someone, ultimately, who cares after his realm. Yeah, let's pick that. Could actually at some point also, of course, go back to stewardship. There's just not much for him to do. Oh, right, no, there is, because we have a fourth. I just saw that. We can construct a new building. I don't have that much money, though. And I think what I would like to do is have blacksmiths. Because that kind of fits in two ways. Gives us damage modifier for the stationed man-at-arms. At the same time, we do gain some holding tax plus. Could also at some point host a tournament. And of course, vengefulness. That idea that justice is mainly served cold in revenge. Ah, the Spy Master. The Spy Master is gone. Coming back to his trusting nature, he doesn't currently have a need for this, I think. Maybe we just don't need one. But we need a physician. That is important. Lothar von Bernsau here, who is our steward, would say, hey, I can also care for that, if you would like me to. Okay. Oh, yeah. Probably looking for some kind of, potions and something that would also care for his skin condition. Oh, and we have the Fortified Mansion now. Look at that. Which also means that we can upgrade all the others here, and we can even build a new one. Isn't that awesome? The first thing that we would do. How about looking into this? So we would have a family cemetery, we would have a church, or we would have a monastery. Right. I mean, that does sound nice to have this chapel with an attached cemetery that is for the people, for us, but also maybe for court. Let's look into this. Oh, it's 570 prestige. Quite a lot. So, Archbishop Gangulf has returned, which means that we can now pay homage. There we are. Well, maybe we could go around that way, and therefore we don't have to walk through the bad Isenburg forest. Isn't that something? Ah, damn it, we have to... Okay, that looks good. Yeah, let's do that. 4 gold is fine. A Slavonic tutor. I guess we had people learning this at our court at some point because of our bishop at the time. But no, we don't terribly need someone to teach us that. The fields of Berg are a sight to behold. Every crop in bloom, every leaf green, every stem luscious. I quickly tracked down the source of the verdancy, spotting a man standing in a field, seemingly holding a lecture of some sort to a gathering of listeners. "My name is Master Ludolf." He notices me in the distance and turns in my direction. "My knowledge of gardening is vast, yes, incomparably vast, so stay a while and listen." Of course, that would be my first impulse. But this is Ezzo, the purposeful guy. And knowing about agriculture, that is something that a good Graf in his mind maybe should know. So maybe indeed he will stay and listen. He becomes down to earth, okay? A little boost. Oh, and finally we learned Low German. Good stuff. What languages? Other languages we know. High German. Oh, we could actually try to learn from Barthélemy. Could also learn to speak French. And there we are. Servants usher me into Gangulf's great hall, where he sits on his throne waiting to hear my pledge, and so on. Yes. How his sister's doing, by the way. She is not having any more children, apparently. They do have their son Heinrich here. There's Magdalene. She is pregnant again. And then Sophia. All of them having children. The afternoon is quickly advancing into nightfall as we enter the local farm estates of Gladbach. The estate owner is Emmerich. The estate owner Emmerich greets us warmly and promises to host a lavish feast for us. Once the feast starts, we dine on a veritable menagerie of roast animal, stew, soup, bread, and the like. In the morning, Emmerich approaches me as I enjoy my breakfast. "My lord, hosting such an extravagant shindig as yesterday can be expensive." Yeah. That's weird. I'm not going to pick that one here. But I also don't think we're going to compensate him for anything. We even imprison him. Yeah. So the thing is, there's this code of hospitality that noblemen at the time have. And that is when another nobleman passes through your lands, you would offer that gesture and invite them so that they can sleep at your place. Right? There's this idea of there's all these inns everywhere because we know that from D&D or whatever. But that was not really the case at the time. If you were traveling overland, you, as a nobleman, you would sleep at various places where noblemen would live. So he's breaking the code, definitely. That is a great injustice, is what he's doing here. So I think it's totally fine to go on like this. Yeah. I guess Graf Gerhard von Duelling does not like this, because that is someone who... Well, that's a local noble here. So that's also a bit harsh, I think. But maybe we could say... transfer the prisoner? No? Apparently he doesn't like that idea. Well, maybe that will just be enough then. Let him stew in the dungeons for a few days and then let him go again. Let's go let him go for a hook, as we can't really ransom him. Torturing sounds excessive to me. Also, that wouldn't really warrant killing him. I guess letting him go for a hook is just fine. I wouldn't really make use of him right now. Okay. Farewell. He's getting lots of children, apparently. Or at least I get the message constantly that he and his... What is she? Gaelic. Interesting. What could we potentially petition? Nothing but sending bailiffs, and we don't need that. Obviously, if I was min-maxing, I would do that all the time because it would mean we get renown. But just logically speaking, if we are asking for this, we would admit to the Archbishop that we are not able to look after our lands ourselves. I think that's not very good for us. So, no, we're not going to petition that. A sword strikes across my chest plate. An elbow... He would not have a plate. An elbow slams into my helmet. A soldier easily avoids my clumsy counter. The mock battle rages around me, but I struggle to find my focus. I'm tempted to let my guard down as soon as the fighting lulls, but I know the second assault is about to start. Okay, this is obviously... He's not the best at this, but we know that he is a focused person, and that's what he would do. And he did it! He showed vigor! It's nice being rewarded for these things. Ah, and he's now a novice physician. That's good for him. Also, I mean, he's now 26. Tankulf is now 25. When they're about 30, I will have them marry as well. I still hope that the two of them will have some kids, even if they don't like each other. My courtiers gather outside waiting for an audience. Petitioners seek my attention, dignitaries request meetings. The very thought of facing them makes my stomach tighten with dread. Each conversation is an ordeal, searching for the right words, feeling the weight of every gaze. How much easier it would be to retreat, to claim illness or urgent matters requiring solitude, to find peace and quiet contemplation. Yet my advisors insist that presence matters, that a Graf must be seen. Yeah, and I think that is where he would say, I must push through this discomfort. When it's about these matters, he knows that he has to do this, even if, yeah, really puts some pressure on him. Oh, and we have a change here. There's Graf Philipp von Mark. Let's just quickly account for that. So there we go. Of course, things go a bit slower now. Right? There's not really that much to be done. But that's totally fine. Yeah, it would be nice if he would be able to track some game now. Or maybe we could just host that hunt and be done with it. That could also be fine. Let's check. A hunt. Oh, by the way, let me just quickly go back. What is happening here? He's defending against Graf Borivoy II. Ah, he's part of another war here. Okay. So that's not really directly concerning him. He's just aiding someone else, and now they've come over. That's not ideal, I guess. I don't want him to, I don't know, capture my sister here or whatever. But I wouldn't be able to help him, I think. Can't really join that war because he's not the man who started the war. Let's have a look into the hunt again. So, let's say we go here. Can make it a small thing. Right, there we go. I want to slay the beast, potentially. Let's see who's coming. Not many people, apparently. But Eckehard is coming, that's very nice. Dortmund is coming, Duisburg is coming, Mayen, Gleiberg, Saffenberg. Oh, they're all coming. Okay. Well then, let's start the hunt. Soon. Can I invite him too? Ah no, he is leading armies somewhere, apparently. Alright. How about him? No. Okay. He's losing hair already. Unlike his father, his glorious hair and beard. It's also interesting because the mother was rather slow, but he's a clever lad. Ah, and Romuald von Bernsau died of old age. Yeah, he was already 66. So his kids... Ah, right, there is Engeltraud von Bernsau. Of course, she's frail. That's not the best thing. But she's apparently a brilliant strategist. Someone who's learned a lot about military matters while living at court. Can we keep her then? Yeah, I'm not sure that... Would he really go and allow either of them to marry? Again, he would rather see them as just these milites, these knights at court that at some point would also leave court again. So, not sure if I would handle it that way. I mean, technically, it could also be something where he would consider marrying herself. But as you do see here, he is not actually... Oh, right, he doesn't even get the option to marry again? Whoa. He doesn't have the widower trait, weirdly enough. Is that what the game says? Just because he has 3 daughters, he shouldn't marry again? I will take a look into this, but because I think that's not right. He should be able to marry again. Ah, Franz, your master of the hunt, summons the party together as the light reaches the hunting grounds nestled in Zayn's grasslands. We are looking for a fox. Yeah, that's a nice target. My small rest is interrupted by a mocking laughter heading towards my direction. I look up and to little to no surprise, I'm greeted with a wide grin from Adalgar while holding what appears to be a deceased squirrel in his grip. I never took you for someone who'd be able to survive by yourself in the wilderness, so I figured you could use a bit of practice, he says with a sneering tone, tossing the carcass in front of my feet. Oh yeah, he's triggering him a bit, right? Because he's like, what? Why? Why are you saying this? Do you think I cannot do this? Because I can. Let's roll for it. It is a 4, so he doesn't fall for it, and he says, no. That is a menial task. I'm not here as, I don't know, a commoner. If you want to skin that animal, do it yourself. Away from the others, I come across a cottage housing one of the most beautiful people I have ever laid my eyes on. She has invited me to stay and rest, and I'm surprised by how much I have in common with a simple peasant. Must you return to the hunt so soon, my lord? I've never met a man like you before. Ooh. Oda. Indeed, a very beautiful woman. Well, it says so here. I mean, we've seen that before. He was a bit restless before, and I think it's more than a year now. I'm guessing he will stay. Let's also pin her, I think. And we can see. Yes, he will stay and lie with her. As I get ready to leave, the memories of a beautiful face twisted in passion linger in my mind. She strokes the fur we laid on as she watches me. This does not have to be the only night we spend together. Yeah, how do we think about that? I'm definitely going to roll for this one here. Because, of course, he would be inclined to say that, no, that is improper. That is not something I should do. At the same time, he would feel a certain loneliness. And therefore, that might be overriding his sense of nobility. It's a 4. Yeah, come and stay at court with me, he says. And she does. Interesting. He has taken a mistress. My marshal, Franz, is the first to spot its flowing tail. The sly dog is hard to distinguish, but there's no doubt it's there, observing us through the tree line. It locks eyes with me, and, almost as though the animal senses my intent, suddenly takes off in a flash of colorful fur. Yes, after it, we ride. Ah, the damn thing is gone. Of course, of course, of course. Well, was good training. My children, Adelheid and Richinza, approach me together, looking unusually united and earnest. Father, Adelheid begins, we have an idea we hope you'll support. They spent the morning helping in the kitchens and noticed the older servants struggle with their heavy tasks. They ask if a younger servant could be assigned to help them, showing a surprising level of empathy for the hardships of the elderly. Yeah, okay, that is proper, I think. We gain harmonious household. Oh yeah, that looks nice. Okay. Let's do that then. We show some heart. Yes, okay, so we return. At least we have gained the hunter trait now. Which also means, by the way, that we should... Yes! We can track legendary game. Good. Ah, morning comes. I awaken in my bedchamber at Sayn after a night spent with Oda and spot her standing not far away. She's staring out the window with a troubled expression, surprising considering how enthusiastic her efforts were earlier. After some gentle questioning, I learn the truth behind this concern. I am not unhappy about our arrangement, my lord. Quite the contrary. Yet we are not husband and wife. I am your lover. If anyone should learn about us... I tried to reassure her, to no avail. I suppose I just need to know what this means, she sighed. Well, I guess for him it's very clear that he is not going to marry her. But I think he would also not be rude. So I'm guessing we are here for our own pleasure is what he will say. And we can make love to her again. So why not? There we go. Yes, they're both amorous. There we are. The bishop is still not pleased with us. Apparently we left some bad impressions. Oh! Emperor Bretislav has declared war on Roi Hugues. No doubt about these lands here. Probably about Cambrai or Hainaut. No! It is the claim! Oh! The Holy Roman War for Herzog Popo's claim on the Royaume of France. If that goes through, then our good brother-in-law, Popo, will become the King of France. Yikes. My father, the great Graf Siegfried, died of old age a long time ago. Well, not that long ago. Yet the flame of his life still shines bright. What surrounded him everywhere now seems to follow me. Many still consider me his son rather than a man in my own right. Just yesterday, an old peasant was praising him as if he was still alive. The time has come to step out of his shadow, to make my mark on the world, to be recognized as the great Graf Ezzo. The world shall remember Siegfried as my father. Alas, I will forever be his son. I will roll for this time. There is still this need for him to establish himself, I think. At the same time, outperforming his father never really was his goal, I think. He just wants to be seen as Graf. I will roll for this one. It's a 4. So he says, I will forever be his son. That is... Right, that is just how things go. He will not be a Reichsgraf. He will not be an advisor to the Kaiser. That is not going to happen. But at the same time, he will make his own mark. And he will continue the line of the Sayns. Well, at least I hope that he will. Again, just girls. Maybe something will come of this. Oh, my lover Oda has revealed that I am seeing her in secret. The truth spreading like wildfire. Our passion may not have been as hidden as we would like to believe. Ooh, okay. Oda has publicly named me as the father of her unborn child. Born outside the bonds of marriage, the child will have a difficult life. What will people say about this? Oof. Now she's even ill. I don't think that's something we are looking fondly at. Well, I guess we understand her. And it would be very hypocritical for us to put her in prison right now. Is that she should have not made that public. That was not the deal. Oh, and apparently she lost the pregnancy immediately. Oh, that's not good. Okay. Well, I guess that didn't help when it comes to... Yeah, he likes us even less now. Now, Adelheid is the heir in training. And Ehrenfried has come of age. A natural administrator from birth. It should surprise no one that Ehrenfried has come far in his studies of the management of the realm. Okay. Now the thing is, what can we do for him? Let's again check what we could do with Engeltraud here. Well, at the end of the day, we could also marry her off. I think that would make sense. She could marry Hermann here, for example. Or even Dietrich. Hermann here is, I think, a cousin then of Graf Adam. But he is a Saffenberg, so that's a good connection there. Yes, let's do that. Let's allow her to marry. Now the thing is, what do we do with... Could have a Seneschal at some point. And he would be good at that, actually. It's quite expensive, though. I'm not sure that we need that. Oh yeah, and by the way, I did see that we still have that guy here. He was annoying us earlier, right? Why do we still keep him around? You can just leave. There you go. Leave! Don't want to see you again. Oh, Franz is not currently considered knight anymore. I think that we should mend that, though. Yeah, Trankulf is Chancellor. He should not be knight directly if we can avoid that. So let's definitely... Yeah, he should stay in that position. Yep, there we are. Excellent. She is pregnant again. Alright, maybe she's losing the pregnancies all the time, because I see that time and again, that she's pregnant, but there's never a child. So, that might be it. He does have a son. How's he doing? Not so well. Ah, yeah, there we go. Pregnancy ended. So, what are we looking forward to? I think, I guess what we could do is, and maybe that is what he would do, is again, you know, he needs to prove himself. And how about becoming an advisor directly to Gangulf in matters other than just being the marshal? There we are. We are a ducal advisor. More coin as well. And that would offer us to leave for that court. Do I have to do that every time now? This whole shebang here where I need to say... Nah, that's not even it. Ugh. Nope. There we go. We've entered a stretch of countryside in Berg that lacked any sizable settlements. As the sun began to set, we came upon a farmhouse owned by an elderly woman named Heike. "Make yourself at home and feel free to stay the night," Heike said, after she welcomed us inside. "I was just making a meal. Eat as much as you want." As we chatted, I learned that Heike lived here all by herself after her adult children passed away a few years ago from illness. Despite this, Heike retains a positive attitude, she tells us. They lived good lives, and I thank God for that. Yeah, okay. Perhaps we can steal from this weak old woman. No, I don't think that's him. Again, we believe in justice, right? There's this thing that we do. Wisdom from an elder. Great. And there we are at the gates of Cologne, to the court. We could, of course, let's see, is there a court position that would be fitting? No. And then, yeah, we could perform courtly duties. And I guess what we would be good at is develop the county. That looks like something we could do. Is there someone we can bring into this? Gleiberg might be able to help us, if only we could use our prestigious good word. There we are. Oh, there's even the Kaiser in there. Okay. Maybe the Kaiser has an interest in this region developing properly. Do we now have someone who could be spy? Of course, there she is, right? I could put her in that position. I just don't want to. Maybe I could put Oda in this position. He is a trusting man, and then maybe she can... She has something to do. Colonian Court, uncovered rebel ring. The court today is abuzz with news that a secret rebel ring has been uncovered by the Archbishop's agents. Some hide their displeasure poorly, whilst others share a sigh of relief when Archbishop Gangulf charges you to bring these malcontents to justice. Yeah, we will crush the rebels. There we are. Extensive powers are left at your disposal to apprehend the rebels. The choice is yours. I would say that is what he does, right? That is the direct thing. He's not going to do any diplomacy or anything. Yes, we thwart the rebel plans. Great. Can attend court again. Well, I guess we could retire to the logics and get some rest. We know that he does feel stressed. I don't feel the need to say that he would constantly put himself under pressure. He lacks the ambition for that. His way of being purposeful is long term. Right? He knows that he sometimes need to lay low and take a breather. Yes. Now the question is, will she remain pregnant? I think there's this thing that the game does where, yeah, it's gone again. Either she is infertile, or the game does this thing where somehow these kinds of when there's a bastard child, then the pregnancy is terminated. I think there's a script for that in the game, which I don't really like. I mean, what it would say is that she is conscious about this and she does not want the child to be a bastard or whatever, so she would see to it that the pregnancy is terminated. Let's take another breather. I mean, at the same time, I think he wants to have children. He would like to have another child. So, there we go. But he can't marry himself. That's the thing. That is the thing. He's not allowed to do that. Oh, he's on a pilgrimage. Oh, Godzilla. Oh, far away. In Santiago de Compostela. Nice shirt. Again, good Oh, what? Let me just track that back. Lucrative courtly investments pay off for 5 months. Okay, that's only for 5 months, but that's money. And again, I mean, he is constantly working, right? So he can spend some and take some rest sometime, because he's still working on this. By the way, how is that war going? He is currently losing. Yeah, he has more men. Oh, wow. That would give us more renown as well, because then he would be king, and our sister would be queen. The scheme was successful. We have learned French now. That's befitting. Very befitting. Now, we are able to execute the scheme. As you draw up the final notes of your report, a servant arrives at your door with a letter of thanks from the steward. After weeks of planning the new constructions in the county, negotiating with suppliers and ensuring the work is done without a catch, the development in Cologne is finally complete. I am, of course, a humble servant. Then we will have more development growth in Cologne. That's nice, isn't it? And I even gained some gold. Look at that. Nice. Could also return home. Yeah. Again, I never want to overdo this. So he's able to show people that he's worthy. And there we are with the family cemetery. Might be time to look into... Oh, wow. That's a plus 0.5. Oof. Yes. Take a look into the markets. Then we could say that he's now building this network here with traders from Cologne. Cologne had this trade right that whenever traders were passing through on the Rhine, they had to go ashore in Cologne and offer their wares. That was something, that people had to do. Quite interesting. And of course, that made the city rich. Ah, another perk. Not sure courtship really would ever be his thing, right? Chivalric dominance. A man's home does make sense to me. Could also go then into enduring hardships. Yeah. Can't do that yet. Things were relatively uneventful during court at Sayn today, or so I thought. After the throne room had largely cleared, Adelheid approached me with questions. Unbeknownst to me, she had watched the proceedings all day, and it was clear that several of the things I'd ruled on eluded her understanding. Every answer, however, was met with 2 more questions, and after an hour it was clear Adelheid was no closer to understanding the inner workings of rulership than when we started. "Where is this coming from, lass?" I asked, bewildered. Yeah, but I think we will do this, even if it means getting stressed out again. Yeah. I hope that helped her, by the way. I think so. No. Yeah, right. Progressive significantly. Good stuff. That's what we gain a stress level for. Putting it all to good use. Right. I guess we could spend winter here and maybe go back to Cologne. Might actually think about starting to build these blacksmiths, because we now do have the money. Yeah, that looks alright. Of course, won't stay that way here. Right, there it goes back to at least 2 per month. That's fine still. What are they fighting for again? Aha, against Herzog Gerardo in the Liberty War. He looks funny. He looks like a proper dwarf. Like a Tolkien-esque dwarf. Of course, he does have his brothers here. He is the Herzog of Tuscany. He is the Herzog of Guelre. So the great power that their father Goffredo had is now diminished. I mean, if that is successful, then France will also become part of the Holy Roman Empire. So that would make a big empire. Finding the right horse. I am inspecting the stables today, observing my equine experts at work, as well as the horses themselves. I watched a stable hand approach several young colts from behind to pull their tails hard. Some of the colts step back in surprise or even kick their legs, while others don't react much. Seeing my amused expressions, the stable hand walks over and explains cheerfully. "My lord, if you didn't know, it's the easiest way to test the temperament of these colts, since the ones that don't panic are likely to have the best candidates trained as war horses. Well, it's not easy, physically. Got kicked down here earlier in the morning, for instance, but it's easy in terms of judging the horses." Okay. Good. Now I have other things to inspect. Or is he going down that route here again? Asking if he needs any help. Experience with handling horses. I might be rolling for this. Tell me more about how you select the right horses. Learned about rearing war horses. I mean, both of these things are necessarily things he desperately needs. Nah, I would just say, okay, that's fine. Yes, and I guess once the winter is over, we could return to court in Cologne. It's 33 now. I guess I need to look into the save game, because there might be some kind of flag that says that he cannot marry. So I will have a look at this. Oh, I think he won. That's good for him. Gerardo. Can still have 4 knights. I guess if I was illustrious, I could have 5. Yeah. Oh, it is March. Then let's return to court. Dum 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 dum. There we are. The north route. Nothing happens on the road this time, okay. Well, I guess it's quite peaceful. To court! Performing courtly duties. And I think we could just return to what we did earlier. Developing the county. Don't think he would do either of these things particularly well. Or would, yeah, like doing these things. I guess if he was pressured into doing that, then he would. But he just wants to shine. He wants to showcase what he's really good at. So that should be it. I could use my prestige to get him back. But I also like my prestige. Kind of want to keep it. Might just stay a little longer than this time. Oh well. I guess that's fine. And of course, take your regular naps. Always take a good nap. Ah, we have a son. Agilulfus von Isenburg. The son of Franz and Mark Smith. Good. Because he's about to go blind. Oh, there's our Winfrieda. Oh yeah, there's no guardian for her. And we could say, yeah, why not Ehrenfried? Oh, still just a court here with nothing to do. Let's take a look. Is he about... Yeah, he might leave court if I don't do something with him. What can I do? What can I do? Would make a poor antiquarian, but at least he would be one. No, wouldn't be so good at that. That, of course, he would be a good seneschal. So, okay, why not? Let's have him as a seneschal who organizes court. I guess that makes Franz excellent and not much else. But I don't really need that one here. So, okay. Attend the court, have a nap. That's how these things go. There's so much happening over here. The French army is getting decimated. led by Dietrich of Upper Burgundy. Oh yeah, he's a great... Oh, look at him. Exalted Warlord. Wow. That's a plus 44. Looks like we will see the largest Holy Roman Empire. That will span from the Atlantic coast almost to the Black Sea. This is where empires collide over here. Croatia in the middle once more, as we were used to in that campaign. Did she do the thing again where she was pregnant now she's not? Yeah. Take your nap. How's Adelheid doing, by the way? Still learning from Barthélemy. I mean, of course, being shy and then going into a diplomacy focus, not the best thing for her sanity. Oh, that's just the way things are. Oh, look at him. Look at Eckhard. He's 25. He looks like... he has the aura of someone who's much older. Oh, they finally managed to have a daughter. The two of them. Oh, good for them. There's Richinza. Oh, Richinza is comely. She wasn't so sulky. Maybe I change her. Oh, she's quite similar to her. Where do they always get that compassionate trait from? Oh! Guido was slain in a duel, and therefore Gelre now switched to Gerardo here. So he is getting back some of his former power. What do we do now? I guess we could also pray a little. That's also good. Oh, yeah, of course, because we need to... we need to make amends. I only just realized that. He's currently considered a sinner, of course, because he... oh, agrarian. That's not very nice. Diligent, more common, tend to do slightly worse. Right. Building construction in plains minus 10%, of course. That's good. And there she is. An adequate bargainer. Of course, that's not the best possible thing. Betrothed can marry. Of course. I might even host a feast for this union. Oh yeah. Can execute that scheme here. There we are, same as before. And now let's return home. Nearing the 2-hour mark. As the entertainment came to an end and it was at last time to leave, it could not help but be noticed that throughout the evening Eckhard and Adelheid could barely keep their hands off each other, let alone their eyes. Well, that's good for them. They've become lovers. Oh, there's more fighting over here. Oh, there's another Liberty War. Oh, England has become big once more because he is also now the Herzog of Westphalen. Jesus Christ, look at that. Anyway, so we've returned home. It is about June, and I think what I would do here is hosting a feast in honor of our daughter and her... Maybe let's not have the clanging here. And her new husband, Eckhard. Also to kind of show that this union here is also, at least currently, something that would bring the two houses together in union, once it comes to their children, of course. And then I will take a look in the save game if I'm able to say, hey, oh, I can arrange an introduction. Yes, that is what I can do. I can arrange an introduction. Yes. So that might be something I could do next time. Of course, arranging introductions is a bad thing, I guess, for him, because it's all diplomacy. So that's not really his strong suit. But I can take a look and see who might be up to that, because he should remarry. He should, at 34, still be trying to have a son. He can pass down his title to. And, yeah. But we will see about that next time. So, cheers. And bye-bye.